Welcome to Section 3 in this series Beyond Java. In this series of videos, we'll be looking at unit testing. Now, in video 1, what we'll be doing is we'll be installing or making sure that we can use JUnit via a Maven project, and also let us download the official documentation so that we can have a look at what is available for us to use. Right, welcome to the unit testing. What we're going to be doing here is we'll learn what unit testing is, as well as what the unit testing framework is all about. You will also download the unit testing documentation. Right, what is JUnit testing? Well, JUnit testing, it's a unit testing framework for Java programmers. And for those of you that are not familiar, a framework is a set of classes that have been designed to do a specific job. And in this particular case, the classes that we're going to be using are designed to help us write that will test in particular methods, and we can run these tests at any time to see if any of our code changes have broken anything. JUnit has been important in the development of test-driven development, and it's become very interesting in the later lives in programming, where we often write tests first before we actually code, for example, the classes. We'll know what tests work up front. The unit testing set of classes is open source. Unit testing promotes the idea of testing first, then coding. Also, unit testing uses annotations to message the compiler and or the runtime. Now, I'll go into a little bit about annotations as we use them, but they are very easy to understand. A unit test looks at input versus output in a method. So what we can do is we'll know what the input to a method is, and when a method performs certain actions on the input data, we should have a predicted output data. So what we'll do is we'll test against that. And if at any time that code in that method ever changes and we rerun the test bank and the results come out incorrect, we'll know that the code that we've just updated has got an error in it. Just a hint, we always should test a negative and a positive. I'll show you that when we get down to actually writing type of code. Right, first we are going to download the JUnit documentation. So open up your browser, and I'm looking for the Maven repository website. So you can select it. In my particular case, I selected 4.12, and that works pretty well. So we can go there. Now, it'll come out at this particular site or page. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at this view all. So that view all that has red rectangle surrounded, you select that, and it'll take you to this page here. And what we want to do is we'd like to select JUnit 4.12, and that's called the javadoc.jar file. And it's an archive file with all the documentation that comes with the unit test classes, so that we can see what methods are available for us to use, etc., etc. So download that to a suitable directory. And then what we will do is we'll obviously unzip this. Now, once you've chosen a folder in which you wanted to save the jar file, then what you can do is unzip it. And once you've unzipped it, you'll find that it unzips and looks like this. What we're looking for is we are looking for index.html. And if you select index.html, you will see the following page. Now, this is what the documentation page looks like. In the left-hand panel, we have all the classes associated with unit testing. And there are many of them. We'll only interest ourselves with a few of them to get you up and running. But it also shows you the methods that are available for us to use. So this documentation is a great help. And what we can do is we can also link this documentation to the unit tests that we will install via Maven. So it should be a lot of fun. Right, the next thing I would like you to do is create a Maven project. Now, we have done this in a previous video, so I'm going to do it very quickly indeed. Right, I've created a Maven project, a simple Maven project, and by the way, the group ID was com.pack, and the name was simple JUnit test. The snapshot was 1, so if you'd opened a simple project, you would have gone through that particular procedure. You've done that in section 1. So if you remember that, that's all I've done here. Now, what I want to do is I want to open this, because the last thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that we've got the JUnit test under properties. And how we did that is I'll go through that very quickly, and we can then put in the properties in your XML file or your POM file. So let me do that quickly and see how we did that. And I'm sure that once I do that, you'll be reminded of section 1. Right. Remember that we went to this website in order to be able to search for our dependency. And in this particular case, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the JUnit test. So if we go up here and we search JUnit, so JUnit, and it's search. And I'm looking for JUnit over here. So let's go for JUnit. And we said that we'd look for 4.12 at the time. And now down here, this is what we wanted. So we just copied that. So let's copy that. And then we'll go back to our POM file and we will paste this in. Right, don't forget the dependency tags, and let's copy your dependency in there. I'm just going to tab this so that it looks good. And that is your whole setup. So from here, we can then create some classes, and we'll show you how then to unit test.